From the land of conjurers, flying through the internet to your device like a UAP, hauntingly unexplained and downright weird, this is the Witching Hours, and we're ready to take off in the flash of an eye. Good evening to one and all, wherever or whenever you are listening to this program. I am Johnny the Frost, and joining me, as always, is the medium Jenny Lee. How are you doing this evening, Jenny?
After a nap, I'm feeling pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay, This is our first show of the new year. So we're into 2024, and off we go, right? A lot of big things planned, a lot of good things on the horizon. A couple of new changes. We got some new subscription badges that we put in there. I hadn't ever really done that, so.
And they're aliens, alien heads. CMC's got one. Look at that.
There we go. So you can take a gander at all the wonderful new colors and advancements of the Witching Hours sub badges. And we got the Dancing Yeti. We got some new emotes going in throughout some of the old ones after the Christmas emotes, and so we're working on that as well, getting some stuff going on with the chat stuff, because 2024 is going to be a little bit more focused on getting that stuff ready, since we're usually doing the podcast thing. So off we go. We got some things lined up there. Some big guests coming up. All of our guests are big, but we got some really cool shows coming up we're excited about. On the 20th, we're going to be going out to the Tavern in Hanover, which I think we're going to meet up with Irene possibly, and Danica. Yeah, we've had on the show a couple times before. So we're going to be going there and doing some... they
are three times guests. Well, Irene's a 3-time guest. She's the only one who's been on 3 times, right? Or no, we've had Mark Hunter Brooks on 3 times. So Mark Hunter Brooks has been on 3 times, which we need to have Mark back. I need to send him an email. They both have the 3-time coat or whatever.
Are we going to be like Saturday Night Live and have like a 5-timers jacket or whatever?
Yeah.
Like a smoker's jacket with the Witching Hours logo on it. I don't know if the Streamlabs merch store has that. They can get a hoodie though. Maybe they do a hoodie. You get the 5-timers hoodie, which I'm wearing right now. You can purchase at the merch store. Go get one for yourself, as it's getting chilly around here. So
here it is. Yeah.
So welcome in, everyone. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us tonight and checking out the Witching Hours. We have a good program for you tonight, and we'll get to our guest here in a little bit, who you see up there in the corner.
Not like y'all don't know who he is.
I know, right?
Ain't no mystery on this guest.
No mystery guest. We do have another little project that we put out since the Witching Hours has been on last, and that's Weird Hauntings with medium Jenny Lee. We debuted the first episode last Monday.
It was fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it, and we have another one uploaded and ready to kick off on next Monday.
Yay!
And I can probably just about guarantee we'll be recording for one at the Hanover Tavern here in a couple of weeks. So
yes,
we'll get those to you as we can. But the first 2 are going to be up, and so if you haven't checked that out, swing over to Weird Hauntings over on YouTube, and you can check out the first episode. All right, you ready to get into some news?
Yep. Tell us what you got for us today.
All right. So, first article today, fitting for the new year, is a New Jersey couple welcomes twin boys on separate days and years over New Year's. A New Jersey couple welcomed healthy twin boys on different days and different years before and after the stroke of midnight on New Year's. Proud mom Eve Humphrey of Merchantville gave birth to Ezra and Ezekiel Humphrey at the hospital less than an hour apart on December 31st, 2023 and January 1st, 2024, respectively. Eve, a 34-year-old biology professor, had gone to the hospital on Saturday, but was sent home after an apparent false alarm. She returned the next day when her water broke and she went into labor Sunday night. Ezra, weighing in at 6 pounds, was born just before the new year at 11:48 p.m. on December 31st, while his fraternal twin brother, Ezekiel, at 4 pounds and 15 ounces, came 40 minutes and a whole year later at 12:28 a.m. on January 1st. It was a good experience. It was cool pushing out a baby while everyone's counting down and saying Happy New Year. And it was like they had a birthday party, Eve told the reporters.
Yeah,
so that's interesting.
That had to be strange. Yeah. I can see those little boys arguing with each other. Like one being, I'm a whole year older than you. But really, it's like just 40 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely going to be. It's definitely going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a thing for them.
It has to be. Yeah.
For sure. And like I wonder how many twins out there have different birthdays because they'll get separate birthdays. I imagine one can have their party one day. I don't know if one can have their birthday the next day. They could.
They could. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cute.
Next story is scientists think we've officially entered the lunar Anthropocene. So a team of researchers at the University of Kansas believes that human involvement, including the more than 100 spacecraft interactions we have had with our natural satellite over the past 64 years, makes us one of the most dominant forces shaping the moon. That's enough, they believe, to declare a new epoch on the moon, the lunar Anthropocene. The researchers recently published a paper detailing this proposal in the Journal of Nature Geoscience. In it, they highlight the fact that the moon is not the unchanging environment, barely impacted by humanity, and that we sometimes think it to be. Since the Soviet Union's Luna 2 spacecraft first hit the surface in September of 1959, humans have played a key role in the evolution of our closest cosmic companion. This idea... go ahead.
What does that word mean? Do they say?
Well, for the Earth, it's like a debated topic on how much humans have altered the Earth. Like it's a time frame where humans have impacted how the Earth works. And so the argument is being made that the moon has now entered that where humans affect the moon.
Okay.
This idea is much the same as the discussion. Well, here we go. That was the next part. This idea is much the same as a discussion of the Anthropocene on Earth, the exploration of how much humans have impacted our planet. Justin Holcomb, the study's lead author, said in a statement, the consensus is on Earth that the Anthropocene began at some point in the past, whether hundreds of thousands of years ago or in the 1950s. Similarly, on the moon, we argue the lunar Anthropocene already has commenced, but we want to prevent massive damage or delay of its recognition until we can measure a significant lunar halo caused by human activities, which would be too late. The team says that with over 100 spacecraft touching the moon, sometimes crash landing and sometimes bringing actual humans to the surface, there's been enough interaction to signify a geological epoch.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, so are they saying, that, because, we've pretty much messed up the Earth pretty good. We messed it up pretty good. So are this like we could also be messing up the moon? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's kind of what it's getting to. Like they can start recording now to see how the moon changes.
I guess
as we begin to interface with the moon more because we're on our way back.
That's what the guy said. Let's make sure we don't mess up the moon, like we've managed to mess up Earth. Yeah. So
to kind of finish this off, the research team hopes to accomplish multiple goals by declaring the lunar Anthropocene. They want to call attention to the vulnerability of lunar sites, especially considering their current lack of legal or policy protections against destructive disturbance of the moon. They also want to ensure that each human interaction with and impact on the satellite is well chronicled and aim to work with archaeologists and anthropologists along the way to ensure that recording. By cataloging each footprint on the moon's surface, not to mention the presence of rovers, golf balls, and the left behind bags of human waste, we could hope...
That's what I was thinking. Did we poop on the moon?
We could hope to preserve a detailed record of human interaction.
We did. Y'all pooped on the moon. Dang.
Yeah. Well, It's interesting too, because, as we talked about, and I need to get that on here as a story soon, but, humans are going back to the moon. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening on the moon. I think within the next, 10 years or so. It's supposed to be kind of the gateway or bus station essentially to Mars, which is the next stated goal. So it could be interesting to see how, especially there's been a lot of talk about mining on the moon and all that stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's interesting though, that for that to be declared.
Keeping track of all the bags of poop.
There we go. Cataloging them. We can make them. We'll make that your job. You can catalog that and the mud cracks and the
mud cracks
and the
coronal mass ejections.
Coronal mass ejections. Yes.
And bags of moon poop.
There we go. Maybe that can be a new emote.
CMC suggested a moon outhouse. I think that would be appropriate.
Yeah. We'll call that the rear admiral of cataloging. Yes.
Oh God, you almost made me spit my tea out. Oh.
A wallet lost at an Atlanta movie theater is found 65 years later.
Who's not cleaning this movie theater?
Workers remodeling an Atlanta movie theater found something surprising behind a wallet that had been lost by a patron 65 years earlier.
How did it get in the wall?
A contractor found the old wallet behind a wall at the Plaza Theater and turned it over to the cinema's owner, Chris Escobar. Escobar said the area where the wallet was found was likely a former lost and found area, and the manager's office had long since been hidden by renovations. It was a portal back in time, Escobar told CNN of the wallet. And then realizing that this has been missing from the family of real people who lived in this neighborhood for 65 years, imagine if we could find them. Escobar did some research online and discovered the wallet's owner, Floyd Colbreth, died at age 87 in 2005, but was able to contact her daughter, Thea Colbreth Chamberlain, who's 71. I don't even know how to say how flabbergasted I was, Chamberlain told the Washington Post. The first time she held her mother's long-lost wallet, and it took a while for it to sink in. Chamberlain was only 6 years old when her mother lost the wallet in 1958. Its contents included old family photos, a library card, and raffle tickets. She said looking through the wallet brought memories of her mother flooding back.
Aww.
And there's a news story, like video on it online. It looked like what had happened is there was like a little secret thing that they were using as lost and found. Yeah. Like a little cubby that was in a wall. And then when the office got remodeled, it got turned into a bathroom and they just plastered over it and stuff.
Wow. Poor lady. Yeah. Never did figure out what happened to that wallet.
Where'd that wallet go? All kinds of identification. But if you go, I can post it on Discord later, but there's images of all the stuff that was in there. Yeah, it's like a little time capsule.
That's cool.
We talked about this one before, and it's back in the news again. Curse painting strikes again after spat of mishaps for new owner. An allegedly cursed painting that was sold in a charity shop back in August of 2023 has since changed hands several times when the seemingly innocuous portrait of a young girl was purchased from a charity shop in Hastings, East Sussex.
They said it was cursed.
So the girl was purchased from a charity shop in Hastings, East Sussex last summer. The seller assumed that it would be the last they'd ever seen of it. To their surprise, however, the painting was returned to the shop the very next day. Before too long, it had sold again, only to be returned a second time a short later, with new owner complaining that she witnessed shadow figures in her house after bringing it home. Keen to take advantage of the painting's seemingly cursed status, the charity shop owner placed it back in the front window with a haunting message. She's back, sold twice, and returned twice. Are you brave enough? The cursed painting soon went viral online, prompting the most recent buyer, James Kislingberry, managing director of the London Bridge Experience, to buy it for over $2,000. For him, the curse began to take effect even before he had picked the painting up with his car breaking down on the way to the shop. After putting the portrait on display, his exhibition began to suffer all manner of problems, ranging from cameras breaking down to flickering lights and TVs randomly shutting off. In one instance, his father-in-law fell ill and his toaster exploded, while in another, workers claimed
his toaster exploded.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what the lady can put on the sign next. Causes toaster explosions.
Workers claimed to have witnessed a mysterious entity in a black shirt within the vicinity of the painting. We've had a couple of floods on the site between November and December, said Kislingberry. We came in one morning and the basement was flooded. We've had small leaks in the past, but nothing on this scale. I know a cynic would say it's just a coincidence, but given the volume of things which keep happening, I do find myself questioning whether there's more to the painting than meets the eye.
Wow. Like Robert the Doll.
Yeah. Which one is more interesting to you? Robert the Doll or Annabelle?
I don't know. Because my recollection of Annabelle has gotten really confused now because of the movies. You know? So I don't really remember like the real story behind Annabelle anymore.
Okay. Maybe that's something we can go over one night. I'll find an old news story in Annabelle. We'll figure it out. And then the last news story of tonight is Andrew Lloyd Webber called in a priest over some troublesome poltergeist. The acclaimed composer, whose hits musical include The Phantom of the Opera, believed the spirit had taken up residence in a 19th century property he owned in Belgravia. Lord Lloyd Webber claimed that the poltergeist would move theater scripts and place them in neat piles in odd places. Discussing whether
at least they weren't making a mess.
Yeah, it could be worse. Yeah. Discussing whether any of his theaters were haunted, Lloyd Webber said he had never seen a ghost, but had witnessed some unusual activity in his former central London home. I did have a house in Eaton Square, which had a poltergeist, he told the Telegraph. The 75-year-old did decide to take action in the end, asking for some holy help. In the end, we had to get a priest to come in and bless it, and it left, the theater star added. So there's another haunting ghost story,
secretary.
Whatever. It's like one of those things we talk about on the show. Like a lot of people are skeptics, and even skeptics sometimes have that one. Well, that one time. Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts? Well, not really. But this one time I had to get a priest to come in and bless the house. But.
Tell us about our guest, Frosty.
All right, off we go.
Who is this mystery person?
That was the weird news. The mystery guest tonight. MYKLMantis spent his childhood playing rugby. He was on the verge of becoming a professional rugby player before picking up too many injuries. About 6 years ago, he went out camping in Northumberland and ended up going through a spiritual Kundalini awakening. Before this, MYKLMantis didn't have any interest in spirituality, and now he says he cannot deny that it exists. He has been walking this ever since. He started streaming in January 2021 during the lockdown and has been reading tarot off and on for the last five years. Please welcome to the show, everyone, MYKLMantis. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hello.
I heard he was also the most handsome man in the world.
Most handsome man that I have ever seen.
You've ever seen.
You conveniently missed that part out of my intro. So for those of you that are maybe not aware, Frosty asked me to write my own intro because he's lazy and he couldn't be bothered to do it himself. So he's conveniently missed out the part where it says he's gone by many names: Michael, Mike, Mickey Two Melons, Homegirl, Milky Mantits. We just know him as MYKLMantis, and he's the most handsome man I've ever laid eyes on.
That was really good.
To miss that bit out.
Yeah, should have definitely read it.
And now I'm being bombarded by kittens.
There we go.
Yay, kitties.
Well, that's kind of how it goes, in the biz, MYKLMantis, because I started all this absolutely not knowing what I was doing at all. I was like, hey, I want to do a paranormal podcast. Let's do it, like a whole radio show. And so then we tried it and we just kept going. And the interesting thing is I still have absolutely no clue what I'm doing. And so what one of the few things we have picked up is that typically, especially when you're bringing on people, you know, that we've had on the like written books and stuff like that, they send a bio over. So you kind of have a background on them to bring them in. So I can write I have no problem writing the bio. I could have written a really good bio, but yeah, I guess I'm lazy. So
no, it was just
that's
messing.
more. I say I'm pretty honest on this show about how lazy I am. I get a lot of stuff done for being like one of the most lazy people I know. So
he's the most productive lazy person in the world.
I'm like super lazy. I don't want to do anything. And somehow I do a Twitch stream, podcast, and now we're doing a ghost show. The full-time job. So off we go. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on, Michael. Thank you. I mentioned to you before when we were talking earlier with the way the bio led off. Tell us a little bit about like what was going on with rugby and stuff like that. It sounds like you were pretty head deep into it.
So from a young age, it was in my sort of where I am in the UK. It's all very much football, which I guess is soccer for you guys. It's very much soccer based, and I was playing soccer for a team. Wasn't the most athletic because of the type of build that I am. It was pretty much the same build, just on a much smaller version. I couldn't really run very fast. I was never really interested in it. But my parents were very much on the belief of you have to be part of a team. You have to like learn these types of skills and whatnot. Kitten, please, not now. You have to learn these types of skills. You have to have friends. You have to do this. You have to do that. And I was always very like introverted, so it never really clicked with me. But one thing it was actually one of my teachers in primary school, which is like first school. They were from Yorkshire, which is a very rugby league based area in the UK. And we did, I think there was like rugby league trials or something. And he put me onto that. And I started getting good at it, essentially. My build lent me to more of the physicality of things rather than the speed, streamlining, running and dribbling type of thing. And it progressed from there. At the age of 14, I was having trials with the Great Britain team. I was captain of the Northeast County. And in that year that I was captain, we beat Wales, the country, at this this meetup. And we were the first ever team from the northeast of England, like our age group. We were the first ever team to win at this county performance camp. And I was the one who scored the first try for that. It was like a big occasion sort of thing. We beat Wales 20 points to 16.
Nice.
And it felt good to be not so much it was me doing all the work. I was the leader, I was the captain, but it was down to the team and how well we gelled together. And that's what kind of put me onto the map. I was named in the top 30 of Great Britain for my age.
Wow.
So like there was the main 20 were the Great Britain squad, and then the next 10 were like reserves. So if there was like injuries or if there was a cold, we would be then drafted in and called in to train with the Great Britain team. So it was pretty good. And then I went on to playing at adult level. And I think I had trials with a couple of teams, but there was one team I started training with. And just when I was starting to find my feet, I then picked up a couple of serious injuries. And I had to retire, unfortunately, at the age of 21.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize like how common that is in sports. Like,
yeah,
not only is it just, I mean, almost for any sport, not only is it just really difficult and rare to make it, like in the 1% of the 1%, almost really when it comes to that.
Sure.
But then, you know, especially in a sport like rugby, there's going to be injuries and making it through all of that and staying healthy is almost even more, I think, rare than the talent that people are given that make it that far. So
yeah, that's 100% true.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You can have all of the ability, but if you tear the ligaments in your knee twice in one season, then that's unfortunately game over. It's a very difficult road to recover. And, I didn't have it in me to recover, but as we'll find out later, that was not the universe's plan for me to play rugby.
Not what you were supposed to be doing anyway.
No, not at all.
Yeah, my brother was a wrestler for one season in high school, and he really enjoyed it. Same thing. Tore a bunch of crap in his knee and never could do it again. Yeah,
it's so rough. I feel the sympathy for him.
Yeah. So if that wasn't what you were meant to be doing with your life, what was it? How did you end up here?
Well, that is a fantastic question. And basically from the age of like 21, what's up, kitten? You just want attention because other people want my attention. That's pretty much it.
Cats know, they know.
Of course they do. Fun fact, before we get into the story, fun fact about cats and kittens. Did you know that they have 64 muscles in each ear? Just
Good
so
Lord.
they can
No,
ignore
I did not know
you
that.
with every single one of them.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
I should take over from David Attenborough.
There you go.
You should, yeah. Mm-hmm.
By the way, that is my favorite. That's become my favorite voice, and I love him. Like the voice is amazing. It's become my favorite voice to take a nap to.
Oh, he's so soothing.
Like I just put on one of his shows on like Netflix and kick the recliner back, and it's like guaranteed nap time. Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Doesn't want my attention, just wants to walk across me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows the camera's on, the mic's right there. Ready to do an interview.
Now he's gonna walk back. Yeah. Go on then. This is the Skull Show. So I'm just part of it. Are you gonna stay there? No, okay.
Nope.
It's not.
Back and forth.
Are you done?
He's so cute.
Had your 5 minutes of fame?
No way.
No.
Okay. So after having to retire, I was kind of lost. Like everything I'd believed for like 15 years. Oh, you're doing it again. Everything I believed for like 15 years, it all of a sudden just came to a crushing end. So I was very, very lost. Spent a lot of time, this trigger one for people, spent a lot of time drinking. Ex-rugby players tend to do that. People use it as a crutch to deal with issues and things like that. And that's essentially what it was for me. Although I didn't have any alcohol issues in terms of addiction or anything like that, it was still very much a crutch, and I could see that. So fast forward a few years and trying to work out who I am, everything like that's going on. I decided to spend a little bit of time camping, like just getting away from the world, essentially go out for a couple of days, just into the hills, no phone signal, nothing like that. Just where I went was a place called Barrowburn Farm. And it's like a giant stone tent. It used to be a school, and it's out in the middle of nowhere at the foothills of the Cheviots. I don't know if you know that area at all. But there's beautiful scenery anyways up there. And there was one particular time that I'd went away. It was around about September. It was under a new moon. And some crazy things started happening.
Tell us all about it.
Well, bear with me because there is quite a lot to get through.
Okay.
And I just want to say the clues were there the entire way through. And I'll get to the clues and everything that happened later on.
And,
right?
and just to catch everybody up on where you're at so they can maybe kind of pick up on their surroundings. Yeah. I don't know some of the locations you were talking about, but I looked up Northumberland, and that's essentially right in the northeast of England, right? So you're basically like right on the border of Scotland, essentially from there.
Yeah, Northumberland borders onto Scotland.
Okay.
Which is where I think the camp where I was is around about an hour and a half walk south of the Scottish border.
So really close to Scotland.
Yeah, really close, like in the middle of the hills. It's in the middle of the Croquet Valley. It's absolutely glorious.
Sounds beautiful.
Oh, it really is. It just became like, it was somewhere where I was drawn to, and find out exactly why I was drawn to it at the end of the story. So, and I didn't send any of this, but there's a lot to kind of get through. I've got it noted down just so I kind of keep the order of the story. But basically, I'd gone up on the first day. I got there.
You're by yourself, right? You're there by yourself.
Yeah, absolutely by myself. So drove up there, parked the car up, put all the gear inside, get a backpack. There was this stick that last time I was there, I'd actually took from, it was just like dead wood on the side of one of the paths where the forest was. And I'd carved this stick up to make like a walking stick. So I thought, well, I'll take that out with me, walking up the hills and stuff. It's nice just to be able to have a little bit of a leverage. So I'm walking up this first hill. I go down into the valley, and there's like this river that runs through the valley. And I swear, as I'm getting down to it, I can see the water flowing towards me. When I get next to it, the water starts flowing in the opposite direction.
Oh.
And that is no word of a lie. That is exactly how it happened. Now I know the science behind it. The wind was coming from behind me and blew the top level of the water back on itself, and it looked like the water was flowing the opposite direction. But it didn't do that until I got to it. So that was like the first thing that sort of set me off a bit. I thought, well, that's a little bit weird. So anyways, carried on walking. It was a beautiful day. Wasn't a cloud in the sky. I get up to this next hill, and all of a sudden, there's like a torrential downpour, like of rain.
But there was no clouds in the sky?
There was one cloud in the sky, and it was way off into the distance.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was getting rained on to the point where the rain was that bad that the owner of the farmhouse, they'd seen me leave in shorts and a hoodie. And when they seen the rain, they come out to make sure I was okay.
Oh, wow.
Now, I'm sort of like looking around in the glorious sunshine, like it's on top of the hill. And they can see me because where it is, it's like perfect view at the top of the hill. And I see them and I just give them a wave and say, yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay. So I carry on going. And that was like the first sort of clue of what was happening, although I didn't know it at the time. So walking down that hill, it goes into this forest. Well, I don't know if the forest is still there because there was a lot of logging and things like that. So anyways, I go down into the forest and I'm having a walk through, and you know the mind chatter that you often get just when you're on your own, and everyone knows what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, because your mind's constantly thinking.
Like an internal dialogue.
I'm not a wizard. Not a wizard, that homeboy.
He wasn't on his way to Hogwarts.
I mean, maybe. Like Hogwarts was filmed in Northumberland. Some of it was, anyways. But yeah, so I'm walking through this forest, and there's two trees that have fell, but the trees have fell and onto each other, so they're like balanced against each other. And it just so happens when I seen them, as I walked in, the sun was shining directly through that sort of arch that was made, and it looked like it was just lit up golden in the middle of this forest. So I thought, what's the worst that could happen? I'm going to walk through it. So I walked through it, and as soon as I did, all of like the mind chatter just stopped. Absolute silence. And yeah, like so weird, like surreal almost, because I was questioning my sanity at this point. I was like, what has just happened? What have I just walked through? But I didn't think anything of it. I carried on going. walked all the way up to the Scottish border with my stick. And there's flagstones all the way along the Scottish border. The walk, it's called the Pennine Way, and it goes all the way to the Lake District, I think it is. But it's a beautiful walk if anyone's in the UK and they do a bit of camping, and they just want to get out there, do some hiking and camp on the trail. It's absolutely beautiful. But anyways, there's these flagstones, and I get to the Scottish border, which was my go-to location. That's where I was going. I was going to sort of look out for potential wild camp spots, because wild camping in the UK is illegal, but wild camping in Scotland isn't. You can
so you could just step, you could just step over the flagstones, be like, oh, here.
Essentially, yeah. There's like a wire fence that goes along.
Yeah.
If you go on the other side of the fence, you're legal. This side of the fence, it's illegal.
Yeah.
Not that the police really go up there and check you out, and if you're camping just on the side of the fence, they're not going to be that bothered, you know. As long as you leave no trace, pick your rubbish up, take it away with you. That's the rule of the land everywhere, right?
Yes.
So I'm up there, I'm sat down, and you know those marker points that you get out in the wild where they kind of sit like this? The point directions each way, like north, south, east, west, what's in different locations, right? And as I'm there's like a little log next to it. So I sit down there, and as I'm sitting on this log, like having a rest, having a drink, and I look to my left, and the shadow is me sitting on a log, but this marker post that is like a full crossroads was shown like a perfect cross, like just above me, rather than like the 4 different points.
Yeah.
The perfect timing of the sun and the shadows and everything give a perfect cross. I thought that was rather odd. And then on the flagstones with this wooden stick that I had carved, I just like tapped it, and there was a ringing noise for about 2 minutes.
What?
You know when you get those downloads from Universe, it's like a high pitched ring in your ear. It was like that, but for 2 minutes. So of course I tried it again, and the stick just snapped in half, and I was stood at the top of the hill thinking, well, how do I get back now? It took me an hour and a half to 2 hours to get here, and now I've got to get back down this hill without the stick.
With no stick.
So I put the stick across my backpack, just, on the outside, the little elastic bit that you get. So I just put the stick in there, and I didn't think anything of it. So before the sun goes down, I'm heading back down this hill. The sun's now at my back, and it's casting the shadow, like my body there, the stick sticking out at each side, across on the ground. And that got me thinking, like, when the person who owned the farm, when they seen me on top of the hill, what was I doing?
Yeah.
Is it really raining on me here?
Yeah.
So it was like the symbols of it all kind of made a lot of sense. Like later when I worked it out. So anyways, I get back, I'm walking back. Just catching up on my notes here. So I get back to the cabin, and it gets to around about 7 p.m. I'm thinking of all of these things that have happened. And all of a sudden my grandma pops into my mind. And the thought is, I need to go and see my grandma. Something bad's going to happen to my grandma. I don't know what it is. I need to go and see my grandma. And I was quite violently sick, like physically projectile vomit.
Wow.
I had to run outside, and I cleaned it up and stuff like that, but I had to run outside, and I was physically like vomiting. And I stayed outside for a bit, just let the cool air just calm me down. You know what it's like when you're sick and you overheat, you just need fresh air.
Yeah.
So I'm outside, and I've got my little chair that I've got, and I've got my binoculars. and I'm looking up into the night sky at the different various points. I'm pretty sure I was looking at Neptune. And I'm pretty sure I was looking at Mars. I could be completely wrong, but that's what it felt like I was looking at. So I was looking up at Mars for a long time. I turned and I started looking up at what I thought was Neptune. And then all of a sudden, this is where it gets really weird. I wasn't on this planet anymore. It was almost as if someone or something had just come and just went, no, we're going to show you something else.
Wow.
And it wasn't like a physical abduction. I'm not saying an alien come down and took me and did weird things to my bottom. It was just
but how do you know they didn't?
Well, that's true. I mean, I wasn't in pain the next day. But,
okay, that's good. Well, they wipe your memory afterwards.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. No, continue. I'm just messing with you.
I got roofied by aliens. So it felt like it was more spiritual than physical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as I'm sitting here on Earth watching the planets, or so I thought, my soul just kind of lifts, and it keeps going up and up and up, and I just see everything getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And the further away I get, the smaller everything is. I then go outside of Earth, then outside of the solar system, through the Milky Way, past all of these other galaxies. Essentially where I went to was the edge of space and time, where everything stood still. And I felt a sense of at home, a sense of bliss, that nothing could actually hurt me up here. All of the thoughts that I was having, it didn't really matter because it was all so small and significant, and insignificant. And it was a lesson that you can only see from the edge of space and time. And essentially I was shown the timeline from start to where we are now, start to finish on a grand scale. And how long have we been in existence for? What, billions of years?
Something. We're still figuring that out.
Yeah. It's always changing, but definitely millions for hominids.
For humans, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's say it's like existence, right? This is the scale of time. I'm on Mirrored. So this is the timeline, right? Start to finish. Mm-hmm. Timeline's infinite. It'll go on forever. But billions of years is about here.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's still so much more, right? So let's just take the billions of years. So we're here. And now let's take 100 years, for example. Just for argument's sake, a human lifespan is 100 years. Where does that fit into there?
You probably can't even see it.
No, yeah.
Exactly. It's so small.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then we look at something a little bit different. Sorry, kitten. We look at something a little bit different. Everybody think of the last thing you did that you regret or that you have that cringe moment about. When was it? How long ago was it?
I don't know. I mean, all of our lives are pretty small at this point, so
yeah.
Like that's the point.
Yeah.
So no matter how big we make these things in our mind of, oh no, I'm still worried about that thing I did when I was in school. Oh, I'm still embarrassed. I'm still cringing.
Yeah.
So, like, how big a problem is that?
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of the timeline, billions of years being this, what are you like that? Like,
yeah.
Like, you know that, and that's your lifetime, and then that's your problems.
You'd have to get the microscope
even
out.
Smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, why do we care about something that happened 15 years ago, when 100 years is this, 15 years is that.
Yeah.
The tiny problem is in your head. The majority of people don't even remember that. It was such a small part of their lives because they're focused on their stuff.
Yep.
So your problems are actually a speck of dust on a planet made of sand. It's like, you know, like for sake of argument, the problems are nothing. Mm-hmm. So why do we allow them to be so big? And I think it's because we don't see the grand picture. We don't see how big the universe actually is.
And are we kind of wired that way, though, that like, you know, really this world is just the stage for our lives? I mean,
yep.
I think that's, if nothing else, the spirit or the brain or however you want to define that, it's still like this thing of, well, we have this conversation like of not knowing for sure that anyone else actually exists. Like I can't prove that anybody else is actually a sentient being, that this all could just be, it's just me and then all this stuff around it that interacts with me. And I think that's the way our brains are kind of hardwired to a certain extent, which I think leads credence to what you're talking about in terms of having to step outside of that. I don't know, that it's kind of interesting to think about though.
Like for sure, the veil was lifted and everything I'd seen the way before. The egotistical Michael who played rugby and was drinking a lot and things like that, he was like shattered on the floor. Like this is like the ego death that sort of comes with the awakening. And when I got back, or when I was dropped back into my body, I remember stood there looking at the ground like, well, that doesn't matter. I don't need that anymore. Like, why do I care about that piece of me that was never really serving my purpose anyways? And I kind of rebuilt myself with the parts of me that I needed, or the parts of the ego that I needed. And I just left the rest of it on the ground. I was like, I don't need that. I don't need to be, oh yeah, I was top 30 of Great Britain rugby players at under 14 level and stuff like that. And, you know, like bigging myself up all the time. I was like, I don't need that. I don't need that. Yes, it happened. It's a part of my life. I'll acknowledge it. But I don't need that anymore. So I tend not to talk about that too much, but I know you wanted me to talk about it at the start. But yeah, it's just something that I don't really get involved in as much. I've tried to leave that life behind and focus on what's ahead rather than what was before.
So
kind of like
you're coming out of this essentially with almost a new understanding of reality for you.
Yes.
You know, like understanding the world in a different way, understanding yourself in a different way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You literally vomited your ego out.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
Because you kept talking about leaving it on the ground, you know, leaving it like you literally did, like you puked it up. And like, I mean, in some ways I have a feeling that physical reaction was like, it was a release of getting rid of things that didn't serve you anymore, you know, so that you would be prepared to have this like out of body experience and come back fresh.
Well, I've looked into a little bit of what the puking sort of is, and people who go on these ayahuasca trips, have you heard of it? Like to find the spiritual sides, they go with a shaman who will guide them through everything. And beforehand, you have to drink something that will literally purge your body of all of the horribleness, essentially all of the bad stuff that's in there.
Yep.
And I think essentially what's happened is I've had this DMT trip of totally natural causes.
Yep.
The things that have happened, I've had this awakening, I've had this experience, and it was just my body had to throw up to prepare me for it.
Well, it's really interesting that you brought that up because that's a conversation that me and Medium Jenny Lee have had. I especially kind of got into the reading and watching videos and talking to people that have done DMT and done the whole kind of spiritual side of that, going at it from, or, drugs coming from the spiritual side of it. And I had an idea that I was curious about, that I talked to Jenny about, was so one of the guests that we have on quite often is a guy named Mark Hunter Brooks, and one of his goals is to explain spirituality through science. Like, if spirituality is real, then at some point we should be able to explain it with science, and so that's one of his goals. But so maybe we had him on. I was thinking about it from that perspective. But could DMT just be a chemical reaction that unlocks, that interfaces with spirituality scientifically, So that's been something that I've questioned. Like, it could, using DMT, allow me to do something that I normally can't find a way to do on my own, but that same medium Jenny Lee can do without having to think about it. Like, being a medium and talking with people on the other side. At that point in time, I hadn't had any experience with that. Would something like DMT be a scientific explanation for how that door gets open that maybe somebody else can just do naturally?
So do you know how DMT is, or how it operates inside the body?
The only thing I knew about DMT, the only thing I know about DMT initially, when it was explained to me, is that it was a chemical the body released once it, and when you died, your body released DMT. So I knew that part of it.
So the body is constantly releasing DMT into it, but also inside the body is an enzyme that breaks down the DMT, so it never actually affects you. The ayahuasca, that essentially blocks the enzyme from operating, so the DMT just is naturally flown through your body, or flown through your system. So, I mean, either I walked past some ayahuasca and it fell in my mouth accidentally on this walk. And I swear, no drugs at all, no drink at all. I was 100% sober the entire time. So I say that as a joke, but I can't think of anything that would block that enzyme and allow me to have that trip. Yeah. Unless it was just forced through. People go looking for a spiritual awakening. My universe kind of kicked me down a flight of stairs and said, "You're having this."
Yeah.
Like, whether you want it or not. Like, I wasn't out there to be spiritual. I had no interest in spirituality. But then all of a sudden the universe went, "Wake up."
Do you think there was anything happening subconsciously, though?
Like I say, there was, it's kind of like the dark night before it all happens, right? So I go out there and I think about all of these cringe moments that I was having. And that's what was making me kind of feel bad inside, going through possibly what would be described as depression.
Plus you had side of things. Like, at that point you had quite a few years of feeling lost too, after the rugby injury, right?
Certainly a lack of purpose in my life. I thought all signs were pointing towards professional rugby player, I'd have a career, make my money, and then just be able to coast for the rest of my life. But like I say, that didn't happen. All of a sudden I was just lost. Again.
We had an important question from Priestess of Wonderland, which I was wondering the same thing. But what about Grandma?
So I will get to that in just a little bit. So there's
we're freaking out about Grandma, Michael. We need to know.
I hadn't forgot. Kitten, please, off the keyboard.
You just left Grandma on the ledge there.
The sound mixer. Kitten. No. Okay, Kitten's typing something on the other PC. What even is? That's a menu I've never seen before. How did you? Right.
She's magical.
She is a magical kitten. So when I returned to my body and I was looking at all of this ego on the floor, I could hear voices again. I said, like, the mind chat had gone completely quiet, but this was like 1,000 people all chanting one thing. It was Leah Sim, Leah Sim, Leah Sim, Leah Sim. And it took me about 3 years before I actually realized what they were chanting. So I'm going to type it into chat here.
Okay. It's like a mystery. It's a riddle.
So it's Liasim, Liasim, Liasim. And you can Google that and you can tell me exactly what it returns. It's from the Hebrew texts.
Mm-hmm.
And it means he was like God.
Mm. Wow.
Also, this is what I realized 3 years later. Read it backwards.
Michael.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I get goosebumps again thinking about that. When you said Michael there, the goosebumps just shot all over my body. It was like, yeah, that's the exact feeling I had when I realized that it was Michael backwards.
Is your name?
These messages were coming through from the other side. So that's why it was Liasim.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so weird. It was so weird.
I have all kinds like that's it. Have you done any looking into the etymology of that? Like how Michael and those words got, like what the relation is between those two words? And
honestly, I haven't. I looked up
really
Liasim.
Curious.
I seen he was like God or somebody who was like God. And then when I realized it was Michael backwards, that was it. That was when I stopped. I was like, okay, message received, universe, thank you.
Yeah, because I'm curious because I knew Michael was Hebrew, but yeah, because you have the angel.
It says the name Michael is a Hebrew origin, means who is like God or gift from God.
So I wonder if there's something to do with like backwards being the same as forward. I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Wow.
I only say that because I know that you've been talking a lot about angels and stuff lately, Jenny. So I wasn't quite sure because I have you ever seen like Michael referred to in that way before?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, well, the
I'd never seen
Archangel
that
Michael
before.
is like a huge one. You know, he's like the big deal. Yeah. But no, I never thought about it backwards or what it means backwards. So basically, it means the same thing backwards and forwards. No,
yeah, which makes you wonder if they're like, so not, you know, if they can just be used
either way.
Either way. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Been a couple of times when I've gone into tarot streams, and Priestess of Wonderland is one of these, where I've gone in as Priestess of Wonderland is going through the Archangel Michael cards. And Archangel Michael comes up as I show up in stream.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's definitely some kind of connection there.
And then so many times on that walk before all that happened, you saw the cross, which is, you know, the Christian symbol for God and Son of God. And yeah, that's pretty amazing. It's like, yeah, like all those little nuggets along the way, the little breadcrumbs were showing you what was, it's like getting ready to tell you like what was happening. And then it all happened. That's amazing.
Sorry, I just seen a message in chat there. I am not Welsh. I'm from the northeast of the UK, known as a Geordie. But if I was to speak Geordie, nobody would understand what I'm saying. So when I try and speak English, I sound Welsh. Go figure.
Say something in Geordie, though, for us. I want to know. I want to hear it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be a test for everybody who's in chat right now.
Okay.
I want you all to type what you think I have just said.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Starting now. If you're gonna gan, if you're not gonna gan, come with her. One more time.
Okay.
If you're gonna gan, if you're not gonna gan, come with her.
All right.
Okay.
There you go, everyone.
And if you're now, you're now. And if you didn't now, you're never gonna know.
I don't know. I think I got like some at the beginning and some at the end, but I don't know what was in the middle.
Chumbawamba, F around and find out.
Chumbawamba.
So Jenny said, if you're gonna go, come with me. You're gonna
close,
good.
very
if
close.
you're not good.
If you're gonna go, then go. If you're not gonna go, then come over. CMC.
Close, very close, CMC. if you're gonna gan, if you're going to go. What was it? If you're gonna gan, but if you're not gonna gan, come we. Is that what I said? Something like that.
Something
Anyway.
like that.
Yeah, but if you're not going to go, come with us.
Okay, so we were pretty close.
Yeah, it was very, very, very
Except
close.
for Chumbawamba, that was definitely not close.
Yeah. And if you're nah, you're nah. And if you didn't nah, you're never gonna nah. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, you're never going to know.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, if I spoke like that, nobody would have a clue what I was saying, and everybody would just log out. Be like, nope, done with this podcast.
I love it.
Gilded said, I'm Australian, and it made partial sense.
I get on well with the Australians. That's the rugby league side of things coming into it.
I think you should do a whole stream like that one day.
I'd have no viewers.
I'd watch it.
Everyone would be like, Michael, are you okay? You don't sound okay.
Is he having a stroke? Do we need to call the UK ambulance? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yes.
Okay. Well, you still need to get to the point where we find out what happened with Grandma.
So, fast forward a day. I get home on the Wednesday, in my kitchen, making myself a cuppa, still thinking about the experience that I had. And every last bit of negativity. It was the start. It was like the day after the new moon. You know, when you can just vaguely see the moon or the new moon starting the cycle. I was looking out of my kitchen window up at that while I was waiting for the kettle to boil, and I felt every last little bit of negativity that was inside of me just went out of the window and up towards the moon. And I felt completely at peace, completely at one, like with the universe, with nature, with everything. It was one of the most amazing feelings I'd ever had. Now, the next day, I'm at work on late shift, 2 till 11 o'clock at night, I'm at work. And at 7 o'clock at night, I get a phone call from my mother saying that Grandma has had a fall. She's busted her face up. She's in a pretty bad way. And the only thing I can think of is it was 7 p.m. on the Tuesday when I was violently sick, thinking I need to go and see Grandma, something bad's going to happen. And on the Thursday, 7 p.m., that's when something bad happened. And my grandma's absolutely fine.
Good.
She is one of the toughest people I have ever known. She got hit by a transit van at the age of 80 and survived.
Good Lord.
The transit van was speeding. She got hit by it and survived.
Wow.
She was annoyed at the paramedics for cutting her out of her coat that she's had for 30 years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
She's actively
pissed.
telling the paramedics, do not cut this jacket. I've had it for so long. He's one of the toughest people that I know.
Wow.
And she's still with us today.
That's wonderful. CMC that said the transit van did not survive.
Yeah, essentially. The transit van got off lucky.
Man. So you had so many things happen just in that one trip.
It was wild.
That, you know, like you had a premonition and you had an out-of-body experience and you had all these synchronicities and like a weird, you know, the water going backwards and the sound on the rock and like so many things just all together and all at once, you know, like it's just like it was all at once. And I've been thinking about my own experiences and my own awakening and mine was over many years, different weird things happening over many years. So for years to be all at like in one time, that's pretty incredible, you know?
Honestly, I don't know which way is best.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I think looking back at it, I'm quite grateful that I was just kicked down a flight of stairs and then I opened the door and was like, okay, this is the new universe. Mm-hmm. This is how everything looks now. But also at the same time,
it's a bit more obvious that way, right?
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah. Because I don't know if I would.
The system.
I've probably been given lots of little signs of the year and I don't realize them. I'm not very good at picking up on nuance.
Yeah, he just ignores them.
I think I would have to be beaten in the face.
Universe. Yeah. I'm podcasting.
Yeah, so, exactly. As soon as this YouTube video is over. Yeah. But yeah, so man, I mean, maybe you get what you get that needs to happen, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't believe in it, had no interest in anything spiritual. And then all of a sudden life flipped upside down and I'm here.
So it wouldn't have been anything that you would have been interested in before if someone would have mentioned tarot to you or spirituality or any of those things. Yeah.
Like, no, my mother believes in it, but no, it's a load of rubbish. Like that's how it would have been before. Now, like I will actively have an argument with somebody and say, you're wrong, it exists. I can't deny what's happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like that's what you needed that's how you needed it to happen so that you would believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
And so
it's amazing.
So you quite literally pretty much get hit with the force there to turn that. What was the purpose for you? What was there a sign that you took from that on how you were supposed to progress forward from that moment?
There was a premonition. It was like a dream premonition. It happened when I was asleep. You've heard of the Akashic records?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I believe I have been there, although it can get very confused. And it was a giant gold library, and every book had a crazy amount of information inside.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a book that you read, you just open it and then all of a sudden the information is there. It's in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I briefly walked through there and I was taken to a giant golden rock. And this is where it's really weird because there was nothing else there. It was just a giant golden rock. And I could feel the universe, I could feel God reach out and say, this is what you need. Like, come with me and I will show you everything. And at the time, I turned it down. Like, I thought about it and I thought, what if this is the end? And I don't wake up tomorrow and my family's just lost me. I've just vanished without a trace. Essentially, I thought, what if that happens? And I haven't had a chance to say goodbye. So I didn't take it and I stepped back and I remember the voice saying, you will be taught everything in time. So it wasn't like he was going to give me infinite knowledge right here, right now. He said, okay, you've made your decision. I respect that. I will teach you as and when you need to know. And then I remember waking up. I don't know if that's sort of resonates with anybody in chat, if anybody's had a similar sort of experience. One other thing that did happen to me, and I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of all of the details because it's quite personal for my brother. But my brother was going through a really rough time. And I remember being in bed one night and I thought, I'm going to use the Lord's Prayer and I'm going to see if I can get things sorted out for him. So I was laying in bed, 3:00 in the morning, witching hours, perfect time. And so I just had to get the soundbite in there for Frosty. I know he's going to edit that and he's going to be using it. So I say the Lord's Prayer and I'm not expecting an answer, right? I'm doing this all for my brother. I just want my brother's stuff sorted out. And loud and clear, as soon as I say the words Amen, I hear the voice of what I perceive to be God It was a big, dark, booming voice. And he said, "What would you like me to do?" And the type of person I am, I said, "Well, you're the god. That's why I was asking you." Like, if I knew what to do, I would go and do it.
Smart ass.
That's why I've come to you. And then I heard like laughter as it sort of disappeared into the distance. And I swear to God, the next 3 days, everything got sorted out that needed to be sorted out. And he was everything went back to normal. He was in a much better place. He was happy again. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now, was it God? I don't know. Was it my spirit guide? I don't know. I can't be 100% sure. But that was 100% something that happened. That was kind of part of the awakening, the process.
Yeah. And there's a ton of stuff out there, different energies and entities and whatnot. But, just like your name and your experience in the spiritual awakening, what you come to find out is that we're all the same energy. Therefore, we are all our little sliver of the source, the God source. So,
100%. 100%. And that's why we all feel connected to each other. And I'm not going to.
Should. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, we should. And no, I'm not going to go sort of calling out religions or anything like that, okay? But just hear me out. If a Christian says, God is in me, God is in you, God is all around us. And a spiritual person says, we're all connected. You, me, the trees, the air, the grass, we're all connected. Are we not talking about the same thing?
We're totally talking about the same thing.
And that's just one example, but I'm pretty sure all religions have like certain examples like this that can be categorized into one thing, which is essentially, and I'm not saying spirituality is right, I'm not saying Christianity is right, I'm not saying Hinduism's right, I'm saying we're all right. Can we just stop fighting about it?
Exactly.
We're all talking about the same thing, just different metaphors.
Yeah. Every religion and philosophy and whatever that's all got the sprinkles of the truth in it. And if people could just see that, then everything would be wonderful and beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's so much. I mean, really, when you start looking at it from that perspective, and you start looking at what different religions say, I mean, it's really easy to see that so many of them are on. Like, if you look at it from that perspective, they're all going the same direction. They just don't realize it, Where things get taken out of context, tradition becomes more important than the religion itself. I think sometimes, depending on which one you're looking at. And I mean, look at what we have going on right now in the world with Judaism and Islam and Christianity, all believing in the same God, and they still can't get along. So it's one of those things where it kind of going back to what you were talking about with the ego before, where it's just like myself is on this stage, and so it has to be about what I think and not what other people think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like the human ego-ness gets in the way, and that's when it gets all jumbled up and messed up.
I mean, I like to be right just as much as anybody else,
But we all just need to go on a hike to Scotland and then puke our guts out, and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm coming. Let's go.
So the ego is there. It still very much is there, but I use it as like something to tap into every now and again when I need it. Like when I introed myself there and I went on Frosty Lazy and stuff like that for not doing the full intro. Like I'll tap into that, but for the most part, I let the soul take the wheel. The ego had the wheel for the first 28 years, 29 years. Now it's the soul's turn to drive. Much safer driver.
Which, I mean, the ego's not all bad. It's part of our survival of being human on the planet Earth. Like we needed it really badly for a long time to keep ourselves alive, and we still need it sometimes now, but it shouldn't be the only thing that, makes our decisions, shall we say. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I agree with that. Like, call upon it when you need it.
Exactly.
So, for anyone who has come in the middle of the show and is listening to us at another place and another time, we are the Witching Hours. Welcome in, and we are talking tonight to MYKLMantis, who is talking and sharing his story and his discovery of, well, I guess spirituality is probably the best word for that, and journey into looking into the other side and trying to understand what exactly all this stuff we talk about is all about. Real quick, before we get any further, where are some places people can check you out at?
Oh, I wasn't prepared for this. Twitch.tv/MYKLMantis. My name is in the profile there. You can click that and give me a follow on there. On my page, there is a social link. It's just called Socials, which will take you to my link tree, which has all of the different social. I'm looking over here, but I should be looking into the camera. It has a link to my link tree where you can catch all of my socials right there.
Excellent. And well, I know, did you switch everything up for the new year in terms of days you stream, or do you still got your same schedule? What's going on with that?
The schedule's changed. So what I want to do in this year is to reduce the amount of time that I'm streaming, do more action-packed, shorter streams rather than 8 hours a day. So I'm streaming 5:30 p.m. GMT until around about 10, 11 p.m. GMT, which is 12:30 p.m. EST until 5:30 PMT. That's not even the right one. 5:30 EST, something like that. Okay. I'm not entirely good with time zones or promos or talking about myself, but there we go. If you made sense of that, then good luck to you.
You can let the ego take over there just for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to know, where did the mantis come into play for you to get your screen name?
That is not a spiritual story at all.
That's fine. I just want to know.
So the mantis side of things. Originally, when I joined Twitch, I was called the Playing Mantis because I thought gaming, playing rather than praying, it's a nice play on words. It would make a lot of sense. And then when I started streaming, I thought that name's a little bit too long. Let's shorten it. So I shortened it to Playing Mantis. I got rid of the. And then I thought that's still too long. Let's change it to MYKLMantis. So I changed it to my name, MYKLMantis. And then I realized Michael has the same amount of letters as playing. So I didn't actually shorten the name at all. So then I shortened Michael to MYKL. And then it stuck. But when I started streaming, I was playing a lot of Rocket League. And there's a car in Rocket League called the Mantis. And I'd been using that car for so long that I didn't know how to use any other car. All got different hitboxes on them. And I've since realized that car is absolutely terrible for playing Rocket League with. And I've had to learn how to play it with a different car.
Yeah.
But the name stuck. It's MYKLMantis. Although some people call me Milky Mantits.
There you go. So there's the origin story for you, Jenny.
I like it.
Yeah.
Because, there's an alien species of mantids.
Sometimes
I could be one.
Yeah, you could be.
Trying to come, it's like this thing, coming up with names online, it can be difficult. I was kind of in the same spot because I was always Frost Giant. I had used that in bands. So I had like stage name, and I was just Frost Giant. That's what people started calling me and stuff. And then when I came on Twitch, that name was gone. Like someone now uses Frost Giant. Someone who never streams or anything, and it's just like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, I want to start streaming. So I come up with a name, and now I have this really long name, and I've thought about changing it a ton, but at this point it's kind of too late in the game. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't really matter now.
If you make Twitch partner, they allow you to take that name.
Oh, well, there we go, guys.
Just swoop in and steal it.
Yeah, just
there's somebody on Twitch with the name MYKL, and I've been trying to get their attention for I don't know how long, so I can ask them if I can have their account. I've tried gifting them subs to the channel. They don't show up.
That's a good idea.
The whispers are blocked. I've got no idea what I can do to get in touch with them. But if a user hasn't logged into that account for 12 months, Twitch will then recycle that account. And whoever is there and ready can take that name. So I might be rebranding to Michael, MYKL, if we can get that person to not log into their account for 12 months.
Yeah.
But then what would you have for all your emotes?
I'd probably keep the mantises, to be honest, and then nobody knows why.
Yeah, that's just why does this guy have
to the scuffed energy force? It doesn't make any sense. Why has he got mantises? Why not?
All right, so let's get back into what we were talking about here. So we're talking about all this stuff. So, and we talked a little about how you got that actually worked out pretty good because we found out kind of like when you started streaming and stuff like that. Did you always kind of have the idea of starting to do like tarot and do stuff in the spiritual realm on Twitch, or is that something that came later?
Yeah, so when I first started out, I didn't realize quite how tarot worked on Twitch. I didn't do any research on it. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't smart about it. So I just set a channel point redemption of 9,369 channel points for a tarot reading. But the tarot reading would be like a full 9-card reading. And I'd spend about half an hour doing it, So it was like a big chunk. And nobody ever redeemed it. It was like 2 people who redeemed it.
They saved those points for a long time.
Yeah.
They did. One of them was this girl in Australia who was friends with another Rocket League streamer that I was streaming with at the time. And she was into her tarot, into her spirituality. And her partner absolutely was not. So she got a tarot card reading done by me. And everything I said hit. Every little detail. She was like, oh my God, like I've never had a reading this in depth before. Wow. Where so many things have made sense. Now we go to her partner, who she convinced to have a reading done as well. So he comes on and he's very much of the belief, if I was, young egotistical Michael, no, it's a load of rubbish. What a load of rubbish. But I'll get a reading done to keep my partner happy. So he gets a reading done, and midway through, I pull, I think it's the Knight of Wands, something like that. It was one of the nights. I pull that, and for some reason, I don't know why, I said what I said, but I said, "Have you got a brother who always looks out for you?" And his partner had to actually finish the token side of the reading, because before he started streaming, and the reason he does stream is his brother passed away.
Oh, wow.
And his brother would always help him. And he'd never said this on stream. He'd never shown anything on stream, but he always had a picture of his brother next to him while he was streaming.
Oh my goodness.
So that brother was always looking out for him. And I've got goosebumps again here.
Yeah.
And he just broke down in tears.
Aww.
And he kind of straight away, like, I think it was about a day later, he come to see me and he was like, "Look, I was never a believer in tarot or spiritual or anything like that. But what you've told me and what you did in that reading yesterday, it's completely turned me into a believer."
Wow.
And that's kind of when I knew I had a gift for tarot, so to speak, a connection with spiritual, with the universe, whatever you want to describe it as.
It just takes one time. It just takes one time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And then the word spread in the community that we were in, and more people come and started getting tarot readings and saving their points up. And then
the 9,000 points.
Yeah, 9,000 channel points for a tarot reading. I'm so high class, aren't I? And then and then I think when I was part of the Twitch Witch Collective, or before I was part of the Twitch Witch Collective, Odin had actually said to me, "Do you like read tarot?" And I said, "Yeah, I read tarot. It's been a while since I've done it, but yeah, I read tarot." And then he asked me on to do a co-stream with him and read tarot with him. And the readings went pretty well. They went pretty smooth. I had Justin Bieber in the background. He was looking over my shoulder, making sure I was doing everything right. I should have got Justin out for today, shouldn't I? Never mind. He's in the corner. I don't want to disturb him. But yeah, so then joined the TWC, started reading every week, basically. I took a few Mondays off, but I started reading quite a bit. And then it just become a thing. So now I read tarot every Monday. Free readings for followers. Get yourself in there. Make sure you follow to the channel.
There you go. It's pinned up at the top, people. It's pinned at the top.
Thank you very much. And the only thing I ask is that you're patient. Don't come in and go !join, !list. Is it my turn yet? Is it my turn yet? Is it my turn yet?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Nobody likes those people.
Do you have to save up the 9,000 points anymore?
No. We've actually got I've completely reformed the way that I do it.
You just have to be a follower.
You just have to be a follower. And
awesome.
If it's your first reading, you need 3 channel points. 3 channel points. And I'll give you an oracle card and 2 affirmation cards.
You discounted that a lot.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do to get the business these days. People can't afford 9,000.
No, that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, because like when I was on Twitch before I realized there was a tarot section.
Mm-hmm.
So like I found Twitch just through video games, like watching Twitch. And then during the pandemic, I started streaming some video games, and that's when Jenny was like really just kind of getting into like, okay, like I've had a lot of stuff happen. I want to start doing like being a medium and stuff like that. Like, hey, is there anything on Twitch that I can do this stuff in? And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, yeah, there's a tarot channel. So
a tarot channel.
Yeah, and it's like, I didn't think that was on there. And now we pretty much live in the tarot channel.
Yeah. And there's a big shout out to the tarot community. Absolutely amazing.
So many wonderful people. So many wonderful people we've met through Twitch and through the tarot community here. One of them being you. So, and a matter of fact, I think I found you through Yo Erica, who like shouted you out a couple of times.
Yep.
Erica is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Yo Erica was the first tarot reader I ever found on Twitch. It was the day after my birthday. I didn't tell Erica that. But it was the day after my birthday. I was feeling a little bit down. I went to Yo Erica to get a reading. Just so happened to search tarot. Yo Erica is one of the first channels that appeared. I clicked on. I went in, had a reading. Erica was super lovely and instantly subscribed because just absolutely fantastic. She hit the nail on the head for every single card and everything that I was feeling at the time.
Wow.
Thank you. I'm not in charge. Shout out, Yo Erica.
There you go. We got it.
Thank you for the shout out for Yo Erica.
And on top of that, she's a lovely person and she's so kind and thoughtful and talented. And I mean, we can't say enough good things about Yo Erica, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She puts a lot of time and effort into her community and making sure everybody's safe.
Mm-hmm. She's so fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
as Keisha said,
she's freaking rad.
A little on glue, some might say.
Thank you, Princess Jupiter.
It is. It's a good community. We've had a lot of people through here. We've met a lot of friends through here. I want to say probably Yo, Erica, and Priestess were some of the Priestess of Wonderland were some of the first ones we met here, and we're still hanging out and talking to them today. So it's been great. And there's lots of people, lots more, too many to name that have been great in this community. Of course, we stream the podcast in the Tarot channel. So all you people who are here tonight, we appreciate it. So one other thing I wanted to get to you about was someone had mentioned earlier when you were talking about that last tarot reading and this kind of that crossover with mediumship. And I know you had spoken to me a little bit before about your experiences with that and having some questions about that and kind of where has that gone from that reading and in mediumship, and would you consider yourself someone who was a medium?
Well, I don't think that's down for me to answer. Certainly not at this stage, but when I was younger, and this is kind of where I'm looking to medium Jenny Lee for the kind of maybe there's something there, but I'd need to hone it or whatever. Okay. But when I was a kid, and there's two instances of something like this happening. When I was maybe like 4 or 5 years old, somewhere around there. There was one night I had a dream, and I seen my great granda at the pearly gates of heaven, and the gates opened, and I could see everybody behind the gates was family. I don't know how I knew that. I just knew that they were family, and they were here to welcome him. And he turned around to me and he said, "Look after the family for me."
Aww.
And then he walked off and he was embraced by the family that had passed, and the doors closed. And then I woke up in my bed. I then went to see my parents the next morning, told them about my dream. I was like, "Mom, Dad, I seen great granda at the pearly gates." And they laughed at me. They said,
"Oh, yeah.
Your great granddad's alive. Like, you couldn't have been at the pearly gates. It's just a dream." And then we got a phone call saying that he passed away in his sleep that night.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, especially children, small children. I mean, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So we all have the capability and the ability to have these psychic and mediumistic things because that's what we are. But then, then those things happen where you get laughed at or you're told not to talk about it or, et cetera, et cetera. And then people shut it down. Yeah.
Hold on, Priestess of Wonderland. What a way to die. Sign me up for that. No. Don't visit me when you die. But why is it got to be me?
Everyone go see MYKLMantis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. These are going to be my dreams forever now. Every night, Yo, Mandis, look after the family. What's up? And then, oh no.
See, you're gonna have that walking stick back, and you're gonna be walking people to the gate.
There you go.
Yeah, passing them on through the gates.
I think I'll need an escalator or elevator or something like that. I'm getting old.
Not just a walking stick. So what was the other experience?
Laugh from my /death shout out MYKLMantis. Thank you. The other experience, and this one was after the great granda thing. So I was sat up in bed one night, again around about the same age, maybe a little bit older than what I was, and I was sat up in bed, talking in my sleep to someone else who was on the bed. There was nobody else there, but I was talking to somebody else on the bed. My dad was on, kind of listening, came downstairs into the bedroom, and sorry, a little bit distracted there. The stream froze on my end, and everybody was pulling a really funny face. I have to unpause that. So I'm talking in bed. Dad comes down, and he can hear me talking. So he comes into the bedroom and he says, Michael, who are you talking to? And I look up to him. I say, give me 2 minutes. Something along those lines. Like, bear with me. So then I turn back, finish the conversation up. And then the person leaves. I kind of snap out of it. And my dad says, who are you talking to? And I said the words, Maudie Bags. And that doesn't mean anything to anybody here. But my dad broke down because Maudie Bags was his mother's nickname when she was in school. It was like a Scottish term. And there's no way I could have ever known that. And he was taken aback. And that was when my dad started to realize that there was something weird going on, you know?
Yeah.
But then since playing rugby and letting ego take the wheel, all of that got suppressed. And I kind of turned my back on that side of things until now when it's all started to come back.
Yeah. Which is what happens to most people.
Yeah. You get through this, that early, like after you leave early childhood, there's this big focus of like getting you ready for the real world. And so I think we've seen it over and over again of like people having experiences when they're younger and then kind of going into their getting ready for life. And then once they get beat up by that enough, all of a sudden the other stuff kind of comes back to them again. That's been a reoccurring theme, I think, with a lot of people we've talked to with those experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my story. That's some of the things that have happened to me. And I'd like to reconnect with that side of things. Medium Jenny Lee, do you have any classes available?
Or then the first
will you be my
class,
teacher?
of course. The first class of the year is not scheduled yet, but we're going to be doing a past life group meditation. If you want to join in on that one. And then I think the next one after that, which CMC Air Boss had suggested, was distinguishing the difference between different energies. So like, what does an angel feel like versus what does a higher self feel like versus what does somebody's grandma feel like? So, and I do have private mentorships. Thank you, Luce.
And the, well, we are there for a while because I did the beginning class and I did the second class. I'm still waiting for, I guess, the third one. That'll be the next one I need to take. I'll probably do a beginner one again too.
Didn't we have a third one?
I wasn't there, I don't think. I've done 2 of them, I think.
Yeah. But we'll definitely be having more mediumship classes in 2024 for sure.
And awesome. Sign me up.
And that's really interesting, Michael, because I went into the classes kind of like, I'm going to take the class to take the class, but I hadn't had any experiences that would lead me to believe that I had any kind of mediumship abilities at all. And had some evidence, did some readings. So it's very, very much still the way that I am with tarot. Like, I'm going to do tarot and see what this is all about and kind of look into it. I've never had any kind of crazy spiritual like awakenings or anything like that, but it's always been something I've been interested in, but it always seems to be good. It always tends, it's like one of those things
always
where it's
have
like
something happen.
Yeah. It's and it's been that way. So maybe my awakening is just a little bit more bits and pieces and nudges, and I haven't had to expel it onto the ground or anything.
Yeah, you haven't gotten slapped in the face yet.
Which, I think I'd rather that.
So I feel like that's the key to tarot and things of that nature. If you go in with a closed mind, then it's not going to answer you when you call on it. But if you go in with an open mind, then the universe is more likely to listen, more likely to talk to you.
Yeah.
You couldn't go into a tarot reading and go, I'm going to read tarot even though I don't believe in any of it.
Oh, yeah.
The cards are not going to perform. You're going to get horrible reads of people. It's going to be awful.
Because really it doesn't have anything to do with the cards anyway. It's the cards are just a tool for the connection we have to spirit and energy and source.
Which is another thing that has been intriguing to me. I think one of the things that I've thought about talking to a lot of people, and as we talk about tarot, and like I started with rune readings, a lot of that is all ritual. Like, then we were talking about religions earlier, and not to say that ritual doesn't play an important part, because I think ritual feeds into the idea and like makes a believer. Like, if I pray this certain way, then I'll get the reaction or what I want to happen will happen. And so it's that belief in the ritual that helps create the outcome. But you don't have to have the ritual. You just have to have the belief.
Yep. That's
been kind of the thing that I've gotten. So whether you're doing runes or whether you're doing tarot cards or whether you're doing, bones, or whether you're looking at a crystal ball, or whether you're, whatever it is, prayer, it's really just the belief that you're going to get the information you need rather than the actual ritual itself.
Belief is one of the most powerfulest tools on the planet, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Like, if you truly believe in something, then you can make it happen. No, I'm not saying you can go to a lottery stand and be like, I believe I'm going to pick all of these perfect numbers and I'm going to win the lottery.
But why not? You could do that.
But you have to truly believe it.
You
can say it all you want. You can say it all you want, but that is very different to belief.
Yes.
If there's even the slightest niggle in your mind where you go, maybe I'm not going to do this, then you're not going to do it. Yes. You have to believe in order to manifest, in order to make the beliefs reality.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and those rituals that people either already take in from other things or that they come up with on their own are the things that set up your physicality and your mind and your ego to allow yourself to believe.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yep. So around Halloween time, we were talking about paranormal experiences and whatnot. Have you had any ghostly experiences other than sitting up talking to your grandma in the middle of the night?
Have I had ghostly experiences? I went to Chillingham Castle, which I'm pretty sure you've heard me talk about before, with get their names, the paranormal investigators that went to Lake Shawnee with you guys.
Oh yeah, Forsaken Souls.
Forsaken Souls, that's the one. I talked about Chillingham Castle, with it being one of the most haunted places in the UK. It was actually on Most Haunted, the TV show, where they did experiments and stuff like that. I don't know how much of that show I believe, but it was on there. And it's rated like the 4th most haunted place in Britain, something like that. There was a horrible man that that used to operate out of the castle. When the king was away, he used to claim the king's chambers, and he would murder children for fun.
Whoa.
Torture, all types of horrible contraptions were invented there, all with the purpose of torture. I don't know the exact body count that he had, but he would get wooden barrels. This was his method of disposing of the bodies. Wooden barrels. he would hammer nails through the outside to the inside, put the body in, or put the child in the barrel, seal the lid, tip it over, and roll it down the hill into the river.
Wow.
And then the river would carry the wooden barrel away to wherever it needed to be. And that was his method of torture and disposing of bodies. So there's a lot of death and murderous and horrible things that happened up there. Mm-hmm. And that's just one of them. There was a lot of other things in the torture chambers we've seen. So we were up there. There was a group of maybe 20 of us. They do like a ghost walk through the forest lands. And then they take you through the castle. And we get up to the king's quarters. And they say to the group, does anybody want to do a vigil here? Does anybody want to do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, where you just sit down? We're going to be downstairs in the banquet hall, going through the next bit. Just come down whenever you feel ready. So looking around the room, nobody was really too keen on it. So I said, I'll do it. I'll be more than happy to do a 5-10 minute vigil, see what happens. So they sit me down on this wooden stool in the middle of the king's chambers. They say, give it 5 minutes until we're gone, so you know that you're completely alone. I was like, okay, so whereabouts am I going just when I'm done? They said, down the stairs, 3 flights down, then go through the side door. You'll hear us because we'll all be in the banquet hall. I said, okay, I'll find you. So I'm sat there. I'm just kind of counting to myself. Is it around about 5 minutes? It must be getting close. Now, to paint the picture, it's pitch black in there. I am wearing jeans with leggings underneath because I think it was November time, like 2 degrees Celsius out there. So I've got jeans on, leggings on underneath. I've got a t-shirt, a hoodie, and then a leather jacket over the top of the hoodie and a woolly hat. So I'm well wrapped up. I'm well warm. And after about 5 minutes, I think, right, it's quiet. I can't hear anybody. I can't hear anything. So I start saying, I can't remember the name, so I'm just going to say Johnny Orange. Johnny Orange, are you here? Can you hear me? Can you move something on the table? Can you let me know that you're here? Nothing. Nothing happens. So I'll give it about 30 seconds. I say, Johnny Orange, I know the types of things you used to do here. Can you move something? Can you make a noise, please? Nothing. About 30 seconds later, I say, Johnny Orange, and then I freeze. From the left of my body all the way, or from my start at the left, moving to the right, I just went ice cold. As if something just walked through me. I'm getting goosebumps again here, as if to say, you have my attention. And that lasted about a minute. And then it left out of the right-hand side of me. And then I went downstairs into the banquet hall and got out of that room as soon as I could. Because I was completely by myself. I was petrified.
Wow.
Went downstairs into the banquet hall. One of the people had said, like, what happened? So I told them what happened. And he said, you should have stayed there. Because he was just saying hello. Like, things would have started happening if you had stayed in that room. And I said, well, what type of things have happened? And said, well, up above the bed, there was like, or in the king's chambers, there was a walkway around the top, like 1 floor up, where there would be soldiers that patrol all night to make sure the king is safe. And if anybody comes in, the soldiers can see them and take care of them with the crossbows or whatever it is. And people have reported feeling like they've been hit by rocks, even though there's no rocks, and like things flying off the table, that type of thing. It's crazy. But as soon as I experienced that, I was like, nope, I'm out. I need to go downstairs where people are. And
that's enough.
So got into the banquet hall. My friends who I went with were asking me, what happened? What happened? And I said, just feel my hand. And she felt my hand. She was like, you're ice cold. I was like, I know. Like, we're in a banquet hall. There's a roaring fire behind us now. I'm in one of the warmest rooms in the castle. And I was ice cold still.
Wow.
Yeah, right when you said that you had like that freezing energy go through you, your stream froze.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just for a split second. Yeah.
I got huge goosebumps as I said that. And I could feel myself getting cold again.
Yeah, you had a little glitch when that was happening. Yeah.
Wow.
Good old Johnny Orange.
Yeah.
Have you thought about doing any more? Have you thought about doing any more investigating after that?
I would like to, but I don't have anybody that I'm close to that would be interested in that type of thing. So literally,
if there was
by myself.
If we had teleportation devices like we should, because it's 2024.
Yeah, where's the teleportation?
Good Lord, can we please?
Government, we want our telepads.
Yeah.
We could just pop on over and go over there. Go visit Johnny Orange. But no, no teleportation devices yet.
Not yet.
We could astral travel to.
Yeah, it's not the same, is it? Then
no.
If we astral travel, we're the ghosts. And people are investigating
us. Yeah, and we're the ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah, which was actually something else that you mentioned earlier in the show. I wanted to double back when you had mentioned earlier about the download and having like a sound, hearing like a high pitched hum or something like that for that. It's interesting because I've heard a little bit before about that. I can't remember if we talked about it with our interview with him, but I know that Preston Dennett, one of our past guests, had mentioned before that could be sometimes a sign of leaving the body, of like an out of body experience. Have you ever? I was just curious if that could have been something that was kind of working part of that story, maybe.
I think it was certainly a precursor for what was about to happen. That the out of body experience that I was going through. Or maybe the download was just to prepare me for what was about to happen.
Yeah.
You know, like you always download the update before you install it. I think that was the download coming in, and then the nighttime, that was the installation process.
Yeah.
Just completely rewrite the old file, the old program.
Yeah.
And operating on Windows 11 now.
Had to puke out Windows 7, and now we're upgraded.
Yeah, I haven't updated since Windows 97.
So have you felt like you've had any more downloads of information since then?
Not as big and as significant. Like every now and again, there'll be like a download. Like I'll be feeling lethargic. If I haven't taken the download, I can always tell because I'm feeling really lazy, really lethargic. And then I'm like, okay, I'm taking a day off. When I have a day off, I'll lay down on the sofa, I'll spend more time with the kittens. And then it's just when I'm doing something important, like lying down, trying to sleep, the ringing will happen. And then it's just a case of, okay, let's just get this download done. You know, like, fine, come on. That's what I've been missing, isn't it? And then the next day I wake up nice and refreshed and good to go again. It's but it's not so much like a message will come in, but it's more so like just there's a little tweak that needs to happen here, so let's make that tweak, and then you're good to go again.
Priestess Wonderland had a question for you. How does your Reiki attunement compare to your awakening, and where/how does it fit into your spiritual journey?
That is a good question. The Reiki attunement, that was, I'd say, quite subtle compared to the awakening. The awakening, well, it was like a big blast of energy. where the Reiki was more like a fine-tunement of that energy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like what's the word? Like a little tweak of here and there. Okay, this could be something that needs looked at. But yeah, it's certainly very different. Two completely different energies. Or types of energy, I should say.
Yeah, I can see that. Kind of like the download things you're just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
tweaking things here
Quite
and
similar
there.
to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's coming up on 10 o'clock for us, which good Lord knows what time that is for you.
It's almost 3 a.m.
It's almost the witching hours.
It is very much so the witching hours.
If anybody else has any questions for MYKLMantis before we let him go, please let us know. Yeah, and it's 2 p.m. in Australia. There
we go.
So
just keep going.
There's just one more thing that I want to say. But it pops into my mind there when you were talking about have I received any more downloads?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't so much a download, but it was more a meditation that I did. And I came back with a saying that really helps me center myself and ground myself. And I think it might be beneficial for the people who are here right now.
Oh, yeah, good.
So it doesn't matter what happened in the past. Sorry, no, that's wrong. I had it down somewhere. I think it's like one of my first tweets on Twitter, or X as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was it. You cannot change your past. You can only change your future. And you can only change your future by what you do now in the present. So take the knowledge from your past, bring it to the present moment, learn from it, and use it to change your future. Nothing was a mistake as long as you learn from it.
Nothing was a mistake as long as you learn from it. Yes. Yeah. That's great. That's wonderful.
I certainly messed the soundbite up at the start, but we got there in the end.
You scuffed it up.
Yeah. We only know how to.
All right. Well, we will. We thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, MYKLMantis. We are going to come to the false finish, as we talk about for those listening to the podcast and watching on YouTube later. But we enjoyed having you on. Thank you, everyone, for coming in tonight, and thank you for watching and listening to us wherever you may be. Make sure you check out MYKLMantis at twitch.tv. /MYKLMantis, that's MYKL Mantis, and go check them out. Lots of fun community games and tarot reading that go on over there. So I'll have the description down below. We'll have the links and everything to that. So thank you for stopping by tonight, and we will see you all next time.